All right, guys, welcome back. Had some got some weather issues going on, guys, around our viewing area, so we apologize. That's what's causing our technical difficulties, but appreciate your patience and stay with us, guys. We're going to stay on here as long as we can. Mark, welcome back. I think we got you back as well.
Yep. Looks like anyway, weather always causes a little bit of a problem, especially with the Wi-Fi. But anyway, we'll keep going. But Phil, getting back to what you were saying, I do believe Grayson will be the team to beat in
Yep.
6A. But would it be surprising? I think you got to get them on the road. You need to win the coin toss. I mean, look, anybody can be beat. But I think it's going to be one of them cases they're going to have to travel. They're going to have to travel to Cochran or Lowndes or Valdosta, or somewhere, kind of get them kind of off their element a little bit out of kilter. Very good team. I think 5A is completely wide open. Certainly you can't count Milton out. You can't count. Gainesville is going to be in the thick of it big time. TCC is certainly going to be in it. I think anything could happen in 5A.
Yeah, I think you're right. Again, we've been talking about Gainesville this all season. I think Gainesville is better. Now they had their season opener. They defeated a good Marietta team, which, by the way, good to see the excitement back in Marietta. They lost to Gainesville, but they were very competitive. Again, Cam Duke is the new coach up there, comes up from Edgewater. So, however, Gainesville, I think, is definitely going to be a contender for the state championship. This is in 5A. Lee County, Thomas County Central, looking very good so far. So, Mark, we've talked about it. We can't forget about Coffee County. Now, Coffee, it looked like struggled at times to beat Bainbridge, 28-14, the final, but who knows what happened there? Could have played some younger players. I think Bainbridge is going to be better under Jay Walls. But again, all those teams that I talked about, all those teams that I mentioned, Roswell, Mark, they had a big win over Peachtree Ridge. That was Jonathan Thompson's debut as the new head coach there, former Lee County offensive coordinator. That game was tied. I believe it was 24-24, may have been the score. Anyway, Roswell goes on I believe it was a 28-0 unanswered run, and they run away with it and win the game at Roswell. So, again, Trey Smith, the quarterback there, he had a big game. So we're just talking about great program after great program, great player after great player. So at the end of the day, right now, I would say 5A is wide open with a handful of teams, half a dozen at least, that could claim the state title in 5A.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It could go either way. There's no question about that. It'll be fun to see how that plays out. I think it's, as we mentioned before, I think it's the teams down here, Lee, Thomas County Central, Houston, Coffee, all of that region against Milton, Gainesville. That's where I see it. And again, I think there's other teams that can be in there and maybe make some noise, but I kind of see it shaking out like that. Of course, anything can happen. I think Gainesville, Coach Niblett, he's very disappointed last year the way they went out. I know that he'll have his team ready to play all year long. I think that Gainesville-Milton game, that'll be a good one to see.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, appreciate you guys coming back, hanging in there with us. Let's come on back in, guys. Get the conversation restarted. Wayne Gladden checking in, says, go Fitzgerald Purple Hurricanes. Dietrich Andrews, Thomasville fan, says, what's up, Mark and Phil? The Thomasville High Bulldogs hammering the house down. Woof, woof. Let's talk about that one. Brooks County, Thomasville. Thomasville gets the win in that one. You're talking about the smaller schools, but little surprised that Brooks County not able to put up any more points than what they did. But again, like we said, Brooks County lost that game last year, but then they're playing for a state championship at the end of the year. So let's not put too much stock in that one. But we know that in the end, Thomasville going to be there as well as Brooks County.
Well, Thomasville, Brooks County is always a great game. A lot of intensity at that game. I mean, those schools are close together. It's always a very physical game. I am, like you, shocked that Brooks didn't put up more points.
Yep.
am I shocked that Thomasville, well, either of those teams could have won that game, but the way that Thomasville won it, I mean, look, I think they made a statement early this year. Hey, we're going to be a force to contend with.
Yeah, I think you're right. So, look, Bowden lost. Did you know that I think, if I'm not mistaken, Bowden got shut out? This is the third straight year that they have lost their season opener. Okay. So we've seen kind of a pattern here. Okay. We saw Bowden lose their opener. We saw Grayson last year lose their opener. Brooks County lost their opener. You see the pattern here? We always talk about how important it is to get that first win out of the gate, Mark. But at the end of the day, how important is it? Milton, last year lost their, or 2 years ago, lost their season opener. So I think, again, it's fun, but it's not, as we have found out, a must-win situation. It's important to get that first win in week one, but again, it's not make or break.
Look, I think that depends on leadership.
Yeah.
I think there are coaches and programs that are not going to get rattled. Certainly over the first game of the year, the majority of them are non-region games. So, yeah, you want to win every game. That said, I've had multiple very good coaches, great coaches, tell me sometimes a loss will do you some good.
Sure.
I've had multiple coaches tell me that.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you want to win the last one, right?
That's one that's important.
Lose the first one. Yeah.
That's right.
Let's win the last one.
Well, and again, they're in most of the situations, they're non-region games. The first one is. So again, take that for what it's worth. Okay, I've had a lot of people that were texting me, and I told you guys that I would add this to our show topics. Gadsden County in Florida, they are scheduled to come to Tift County Friday night. Now, there's been some talk, been some discussion whether or not they're going to have enough players to play. There was a number of players suspended. Now, I reached out to Tift County head football coach Jeff Littleton just before we went on the air. He said, Phil, they're going to have enough players to play. Don't worry. We're not concerned about it. The fans shouldn't be concerned about it. This is a powerhouse of a program, Gadsden County. In fact, I think they've won multiple state championships. They defeated Tift last year, but that's a little bit of an update for you there. So I know, I was getting hit right and left with a bunch of fans asking me from Tift County, hey, have you heard about Gadsden County? Are they going to be able to play? So the answer from the Tift County head football coach is yes, they will be able to play. Now, while we're talking about Tift County, Mark, they come from behind. They were losing to Griffin, much improved Griffin team. They come from behind and get the win. I think it was 35-31. But I want to ask you, Mark, we saw the improvement that Jeff Littleton has made there at Tift County. We saw it last year, albeit wasn't necessarily measured in wins and losses. But you could see the improvement. You could see everybody on Tift County playing much better. The fans were engaged, had a great turnout from what I understand from the home fans Friday night. So my question to you, Mark, this is a game I believe the old Tift County team, even going to last year, this is a game that Tift County would have lost. I can see them not being able to get off the floor and win a game like this, like they did. Aren't those the kind of things that you use to measure the progress of a team?
No question about that. I think if you have a program that has struggled, whenever it looks like you're going to win a game and then you get down and it's the fourth quarter, it's like it just takes the wind out of your sails. A lot of times those programs aren't able to come back and win those games. So I do think that's a great sign for Tift County to come back and win that game. I think it means a lot to that program and that community. I think if there is a team that needed to win their first game, I think Tift, that's good for them. And I think it'll do nothing but help. And look, Tifton's a great South Georgia town for high school football. Certainly would like to see them continue to improve and make some noise in the region at some point.
Absolutely. All right, picking up some of the folks that have made it back. By the way, good numbers. Appreciate you guys coming back. We appreciate your patience with us. Again, having some weather issues, but hopefully that is cleared out. Robert Taller says, go Peach County Trojans and Coach Maurice Westbrook. You guys get the big win. I think Peach County going to be a team to watch for this year for sure. Ronald DJ RJ Wallace says, go Stockbridge Tigers. Stockbridge looking good so far. Now, Adam Estes tells us, I can tell you who's not looking for a quarterback, and that's Griffin. Don't know his name, but he's number 1, 6'4", 230. Goodness gracious. I bet we're talking about Derek Baker. I'm sure that young man for Griffin was a load to bring down rather. Daniel James, what's up, Phil and crew? Checking in from Stockbridge. So we got a couple of Stockbridge fans from up in South Atlanta checking out the show today. We appreciate that. Andrew Watkins, Darty is the team to watch for this year. Andrew, my man, Darty could be 1-9, and they're going to be your team to watch this year. But you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Michael Baxter, good evening, Mark and Phil and everyone at ITG. Next, Michael Baxter, where you at, Michael? Gainesville or Milton? I get those two mixed up. Let me know who you are a fan of. All right, checking out some of the other comments coming in. Again, appreciate you guys sticking with us during our weather delay for sure. All right, so I want to talk about real quick. We had a couple of teams that really didn't look so well, and I don't know. I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. You know, Mark, we were one of the few media outlets that did not have Irwin County in our preseason top 10. And I caught a good bit of grief for that. You know, I had looked at Irwin County, the fact that they had really lost a lot. I mean, a lot of the key players who had been, you know, so formidable with that roster over the last 2-3 years. They lost a lot. I did not see Irwin being, you know, one of the top 10 team this year. That's why I did not rank them in the top 10. Well, Irwin came out and let's just say that they took it on the chin, losing to Fitzgerald, I believe 41-0 the final score. So a great debut for Wes Tankersley at Fitzgerald. Larry Harold, the new head coach, coming down from Central Gwinnett, taking over for Coach Soliday, Casey Soliday. Yeah, look, Irwin County, I don't know how long it's been since they've had a losing season, but this is probably, you know, going to be a little bit of a struggle. We used this word before. It's going to be a little bit of a transition year this year, Mark, for Irwin County.
Well, again, new coach, you lose a lot of players, but look, Irwin County's, it's a great little South Georgia place for football.
Sure.
They'll be back. You know, again, it'll be a rebuilding time. And look, in Fitzgerald and Osceola, I say in Quitman, in all these towns, in Homerville at Clinch,
yep,
they're playing 100% with homegrown people every year.
That's right.
And let's just face it. I mean, the talent cycles. It's just the reality of it. You know, they're not getting anybody moving in. You know, they can't just plug holes. You know, their numbers, because they are smaller, aren't as big. So it's sometimes it's harder when you have some really good players. And look, Irwin, you know, for the past several years, I mean, 5-6 years has been really good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you know, absolutely.
They've had players and you're just going to have a little bit of a downtime, but trust me, the kids in that community love football. There'll be some people coming out, some kids coming up that'll get that program right back where it needs to be.
Oh, no question. No question. But, and you know what? The thing is, sometimes, you know, we get spoiled. You know, it's been a long time since Irwin had a down season. But, guys, you got to realize, you know, it comes in cycles. And, you know, anytime, usually, if you see a long-time veteran coach at a program that decides to move on, that's usually a sign that, hey, maybe the cupboard is going to be bare. But anyway, 43-0 Fitzgerald. Remember, Irwin County upset Fitzgerald or beat Fitzgerald last year. So the tables turn. Fitzgerald, again, 43-0 winners in Wes Tankersley debut as the new Fitzgerald head coach. Marist, here's another one under the guise of did not see that coming, Mark. Jefferson defeats Marist 19-0. Now, I don't know about a lot about either team. I do know, again, that was a shocker. I tell you what really gets me, Mark, is all these shutouts. It's one thing to lose. But, you know, there was a lot of teams really looking for some offense, and they couldn't find it. Marist, Irwin, how about Bowden? Defending, going for 4 straight state titles, Mark, unheralded. But they get beat by Fellowship Christian 26-0. You know, remember, Bowden's arguably one of the best players in the state, regardless of classification, in that Caden Prothero kid. I say kid. He's a young man. He is committed to the University of Georgia. But again, a couple of teams there. Marist, Irwin, Bowden, not able to put up any points this past week in their season opener.
Well, it's definitely a shock that they were shut out. But as we know, anything can happen. Look, Jefferson has a good program. So am I totally shocked that Jefferson won? Not totally. But again, like you said, being shut out, yeah, I'm shocked some of these teams got shut out.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at some of the games in season or in week one, rather, some of the other contests, North Oconee, defending state champion in 4A. Again, they look quite good. Another shutout, shutting out Oconee County. Battle of the Oconee County teams, North Oconee, Oconee County. It was North Oconee defending state champion in 4A, getting the shutout win there. Let's talk about Appling County, Mark. Now, we talked about Tucker Pruitt, the former Fitzgerald coach. Tucker leaves Fitzgerald, goes to Appling County. Okay. They take on Ware County this past week, and it was all Ware County in this game. A little bit of a shocker, Ware County winning this one, but Ware County is the bigger school, of course. But Mark, here's my question to you. You know, you talked about teams being able to turn it around, maybe a transition year. We know that Appling went through a little bit of discourse last year with being rolled, having the ineligible player. Don't really want to rehash all that, but this could be a little bit of a transition year for Appling County and Tucker Pruitt, because we know everywhere Coach Pruitt's been, he's been a winner, from his days as coordinator with Valdosta and Lowndes. And then, of course, becoming the head coach there at Fitzgerald. So going to be interesting to see how Appling County and Tucker Pruitt rebound from this pretty bad loss against Ware County, Mark.
Yeah, they'll come back. But, I went to Appling a couple of times last year. They lost a lot of players, first of all. They had some really good talent. They lost a kid that went to Arkansas. There's another young man. So, it's hard for these small schools in these rural areas in Georgia, just to bring kids back. It definitely not a surprise to me that Ware dominated that game. Jason Strickland's done a great job at Ware. They're always in the hunt. So, I mean, to me, that's not a surprise.
Yeah, 45-7 or 55-7 rather. The final score in that one. Ware County led that game 12-7 at the half. How about a team that we hadn't heard a lot from lately? That's Perry. They won the state title a couple of years ago under Coach Smith. They get the year started off right. They beat Baldwin 46-18. So don't be surprised if we see Perry. What a great coach, Coach Kevin Smith is, isn't he, Mark?
Yeah, really enjoy every time I get to visit with Coach Smith. He's done a great job in Perry. Look, let's keep in mind, he brought a completely new attitude to that program. That program in town now, he's totally flipped it around. Look, let's face it, they were the stepchild of Houston County, if you will. When you think about Houston County, you think of obviously Warner Robins and Northside, and then, of course, Houston County. Perry had never really gotten recognition. He was able to come in there, of course, a long-time assistant under Conrad Nix. Just a great person, man. You always got to root for that guy. Can't speak enough good words about him and the way he cares about those kids and what he's done for that school and community. Again, Perry has been good the last several years. Now, again, won a state championship. Now that you get a taste of that, you want to win it every year. Why not, right?
That's exactly right. Taking a look at some of the top teams in the state's highest classification, we'll keep it in the Valdosta area. How about Lowndes and Valdosta, Mark, in not only ours, but the AJC, Georgia High School Football Daily's preseason top 10. Both of us have Valdosta and Lowndes in our preseason top 10. They did nothing to change that after week one. And these were games that they should have won, Now, we talk about some of these games that teams did not do well in. That was not the case with Valdosta and Lowndes. Valdosta, as they should have, easily defeated Tucker 63-19. And then you had Lowndes also winners in a big way over Jenkins 43-20. Here's a couple of teams, Mark, that's going to be interesting to watch. There's this big discussion about, which South Georgia team is going to be able to step up and actually compete with and maybe even defeat some of the North Georgia teams when it comes to championship caliber play. Could be Lowndes, could be Valdosta. What are your thoughts about the Lowndes program, Valdosta program, two programs in Wintersville, USA that are looking to get back to their storied winning ways?
Look, we all know the tradition at both Lowndes and Valdosta. I mean, obviously Valdosta going back many, many years. The winningest high school football program in the country. There's a lot of pride there. I think Coach Shelton's done a great job. I think, again, they'll make some noise, and I think Lowndes will. Listen, football in the state of Georgia is always better when both Valdosta and Lowndes are good and competing. You throw Colquitt in that mix. I think all three of those teams good. And Camden is in there as well. But from right here, kind of in the heart, in the middle of South Georgia, Wintersville will be a great game this year. It always is. I actually ran into one of the writers from Rivals at the Collins Hill Grayson game. And so we were just chatting about high school football. And, this guy, he's traveled all over the country going to places. And he had an opportunity to go to Wintersville last year. And he said, bar none, that's the best atmosphere he's ever seen at a high school football game. And I tell everybody, if you want to come experience high school football, man, come to a Wintersville game. You just can't beat it. Both atmospheres are great. South Georgia, I mean, the physicality of the game. So I think anything can happen with both those teams. I mean, again, you got to play some tough games to find out exactly what you have. But we know they got good players. I think both coaches have done a great job. They have their systems in. They've been there enough now that the kids understand what's expected of them from those head coaches. Who knows what can happen? Again, I think any of these South Georgia teams could knock off a Grayson or Buford in the right circumstances. But make no bones about it. Again, Grayson's loaded and so is Buford. I know I'll go back to that. As far as athletes, boy, they both are loaded up. Just all over the field. That said, do not underestimate Lowndes, Valdosta, or Colquitt.
Absolutely. Of course, Lowndes, you've got the electric Jace Juice Johnson at quarterback. Much heralded. I think he committed earlier to Texas A&M, if I'm not mistaken. He's still got a couple of years left. So what a great player he is. No doubt that, as we've seen before, Lowndes is going to try to wrap their offense around their quarterback. We've seen them do it with some of the great quarterbacks before, Mark, even, under Randy McPherson or whomever the head coach was, using the quarterback as the central focus, no matter what kind of offense they were running either. So I think that's going to be the case with Adam Carter and Lowndes, trying to, again, use Jace Johnson both in the passing game and with his legs. Now, they rushed for 455 yards, 6 touchdowns. But again, there were a lot of different guys that were pitching in there against an overmatched Jenkins team. And then you got Valdosta. I know that they have got a little bit of a quarterback battle there, Mark. They got a couple of players. Trip Perry, I believe, has taken over the starting job for Valdosta. So maybe some of you Valdosta fans can update me on that situation. But again, they rushed for 7 touchdowns. So as we can see, at least early on, both Lowndes and Valdosta using the ground game, the rushing game, to get it done so far here after one game.
Well, I want to go back to something you mentioned with Jace committing to Texas A&M. Look, as a Georgia fan, I see a trend happening here that you got Texas and Texas A&M coming into Georgia and taking some of these big-time players, which we all know Both those programs have a lot of money that they can pay for NIL for these players. Now, I don't know if Georgia was recruiting Jace. I know Georgia was recruiting Tyler Atkinson at Grayson, who went to Texas. But look, as a Georgia fan, I guess you can only do so much. I mean, at the end of the day, if someone is offering you more money, hey, as a young man, I would have to look at that as well. But you do see that trend. I know that's off topic, but I think Nick Saban got out at the right with the transfer portal and NIL and all the changes. And I would really be curious to know what the payroll for Texas is for their team. Really, with Arch Manning, and the other people that they're getting. And from what I understand, just as I travel and meet different people, it's like 3 schools always get talked about who will just throw it down. Hey, we'll just go way above what you're offered. It's Texas, Texas A&M, and Oregon.
Right.
I mean, I've been told by a couple of people in the know that, if Oregon, hey, if they start recruiting you and then it looks like maybe they're not going to get you, they're not afraid to, really open up the checkbook, so to speak. It's very interesting at the way the dynamics have changed in recruiting with the way things are shaping out. Now, that said, Kirby's put more players in the NFL since he's been at Georgia. I think Georgia's number 1 and Ohio State's 2, Clemson's 3, I think, something like that. I saw a graphic. But, hey, I'm a Georgia guy. I like to see these homegrown players stay. Go to UGA.
I hear you. Look, I'm a Georgia fan, grew up as a Georgia fan, so I'm right there with you. But you're right. Look, we've always talked about, there's no better place, than Georgia for high school football. South Georgia, I think we're biased about that. But I tell you, what does this say about all the great talent we've got? Tyler Atkinson, Mark. Okay. The show that he was on, the nationally syndicated show or the national show, what is it? It's
Pat McAfee.
Yeah, Pat McAfee. So who did they choose to have to highlight, to spotlight on that show was none other than Tyler Atkinson, a Georgia football player. So again, it just goes to show you. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, you talk about Tyler Atkinson. Look, I've stood next to that guy. I'd say he's probably about 6'2", but I mean, you're talking about an athlete that he understands the game of football. He is tough. He is fast. He is a football player. Yep. And I think I heard some people talking like out of kids in high school, well, like who could be ready to play in the NFL? Well, his name was the first one to come up. He is a force to be reckoned with. That's what's so scary about the performance that Grayson had, their defense had against Collins Hill. They did that without Tyler and their other linebacker who is, you just don't hear him talked about as much because of Tyler. But he's an incredible player. He'll do big things in college. I mean, there's no question. He's the kind of player, he'll start as a freshman. He certainly will have that opportunity, I think.
And look, we talk about the top talent, of course, go over on the other side. I would put Travis Burgess against anybody, any quarterback in the country. I'm not talking about the state. That young man is just at the tip top of his game right now. Look at what he's doing. He can pull down and run the football. He can throw the football as well as anybody. Got a great arm, very accurate. So he didn't really get a whole lot of chance because, they pulled him out fairly early against Collins Hill, Mark.
Well, he's the kind of kid, when you watch him play, he makes it look effortless.
Yep.
Whatever he's
doing. That's a great word.
He just, when he's throwing it, it's just smooth. It's just natural. Yep. He tucks it and run. He just seems to be he knows what to do. I've had an opportunity to meet him a couple of times, and man, seems to be a fine young man. He's got his head on right. Again, he's another player that'll do great things. And look, that Grayson team reminds me of Milton. They won a state championship, brought that core leadership group back. Many people think that Milton team last year is a generational team, including me.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know that I've seen a team quite like that, but I got to tell you, when I watch Grayson play, am I about to say that again at the end of the year? I mean, what are the odds you have two teams like that? You know, but they have that core leadership group back. You know, Travis Burgess at quarterback, Tyler Atkinson at linebacker, and
Yeah.
a whole host of other D1 players. When
Right.
I was up at Grayson during the summer, UGA had multiple recruiters there, and they were looking at multiple players at Grayson.
Yep.
And so they're, again, very good team, good core group of seniors back that are good leaders that work hard.
Yep.
Look, I saw those players at Grayson. I mean, they got pushed to the brink at one of those workouts I saw. And, you know, I'm looking at them and, hey, if you can withstand that, Friday nights will be very easy.
Well, and I think about this a lot. I thought about it over the weekend. You know, we see these young men and, of course, the coaches for 3 hours roughly on Friday night, right? But think about, as Mark just alluded to, the dedication that they're having to go through, the hard work, the blood, sweat, tears, literally, they're having to go through for hours upon hours upon hours that most of us never see. A lot of teams going early in the morning to get away from the afternoon heat on certain days. But again, there's a lot that goes into, what would you say, Mark? 95% preparation goes into the 5% that becomes the end product that we see on Friday nights.
Well, there's no question about that. I heard a player somewhere talking about, look, the good coaches try to make life so difficult for you at practice and will put you through the ringer only, you know, that's going to make Friday night much easier. And you can't say enough good things about Santavius Bryant, the job he's done at Grayson.
Right.
And DeBerry, the AD, they just have a great thing going there, not just football, but basketball and other sports as well. Grayson's done an outstanding job. Look, winning doesn't happen on accident.
Well, you're right about that.
I mean, Cam Newton never won a state championship when he was at Westlake. And I mean, just look at him. He's one of the greatest high school football players ever. You know, won a national championship by himself at Auburn, went undefeated there, I believe. But they've done a great job there. Again, a lot of athletes and a core group of kids back.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we're also, of course, we've been talking about these great quarterbacks around the state. Of course, we talked about, again, who I think Travis Burgess is certainly could be the best quarterback, not only in Georgia, but in the country. Then you got, you know, we seem to have a run on freshmen, not just quarterbacks, but freshman players. But freshman quarterbacks, I was alerted to, and I'm going to ask our viewers to kind of help me out with this. Apparently, Rockmart has got a freshman quarterback. Remember last year, it was Calhoun that had, was it Trace Hawkins, the freshman quarterback? We all remember this. He came up, led Calhoun to the state championship. He had the standout performance up at the Dome. It used to be, Mark, and I'm sure that you can remember this, wasn't that long ago either, where coaches really didn't like to take a chance on a freshman. I mean, you had to be very, very good. Point being, you didn't see many 4-year starters, especially a quarterback. And now that's becoming more of the norm than the exception.
Yeah, no question. I think old school coaches, you just did not start as a freshman.
Right.
It just didn't happen.
That's right.
And then for you to even get in during the season, something crazy had to happen, or, you know, there had to be certain circumstances there. Look, it takes me back to 1980, University of Georgia. You know, Vince Dooley didn't start Herschel Walker, you know, as a freshman. Now, he came in, and, of course, the rest is history after that. He started after that. But, you know, but that's an example of that. I think it's pretty obvious, I'm sure, at practice at UGA back in 1980 that who was the best player on the field, who was a man when he was a freshman, hey, he ought to start, but, you know, he didn't start. It's just that mentality. And to your point, it used to be that way. Whereas now, I also think kids, they're getting trained earlier. They go to all these camps, and especially quarterbacks. They go to all these camps and get an opportunity to get all this coaching and mentoring. And I mean, they're throwing all the time. So, it's not as shocking for sure at that quarterback position that you're seeing more freshmen start. I just think they're better prepared than they were at one time.
Yeah. So somebody let me know who that freshman quarterback is there at Rockmart. I'm really eager to hear who that young man's name is. A team that everybody seems very high on, coming out of a big winner out of the Corky Kell Dave Hunter Classic. McEachern. McEachern has been one of these. McEachern was the first team to have the big jumbotron. They were the ones that made it in vogue, so to speak. And now, of course, everybody else is called on. We know about all the history at McEachern. In fact, remember McEachern and Jimmy Dorsey, the godfather of the Corky Kell Classic. It was McEachern School and head coach Jimmy Dorsey that that kickstarted the Corky Kell Classic. So kind of fitting there that they were big winners, 50-17 over the Walton Raiders this past weekend. Back during the preseason, there were 5 teams. I said 5 teams to watch this year. I called them dark horse teams. McEachern was right near the top. And let me tell you, they really had a coming out party. Game 1, they're 1-0. McEachern 50-17 winners over Walton. I know a lot of people are not paying a lot of attention to McEachern, but remember the McEachern Indians. They're going to be a team to watch. One of the many teams taking part in the Corky Kell Classic, Mark.
Yeah, well, look, they've got a great program there, and as you mentioned, they've had great facilities for a long time. I know their weight room, it overlooks the field. Very nice place.
Yes.
Got a chance to go up there. It's great facilities there. I mean, look, they're due. They're due. So, again, I don't think they'll sneak up on anybody. I think they'll have a solid season.
All right, let's talk about Carver Columbus, Mark. Another big-time team who won pretty easily, 51-25 over Whitewater. New coach. He is a former Carver alumni. He was is it Jarvis Jones, I believe it was? Is the
Jarvis
new head coach
Jones, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Mark, I know going back into the early days of In the Game, as used to be known as in the beginning, I know that you had a lot of time covering him, but Carver Columbus, 1-0 on the year. Again, I think they're another team. Again, we wrote about Carver Columbus as probably going to be looking to repeat this year. Carver Columbus, right out of the gate, is looking good so far.
Yeah, as I said, I think if you're able to bet on high school football, put all your chips in the middle and take Carver Columbus to win it all in I think it's 2A. They are loaded. I think Jarvis Jones, great fit for that program. Gosh, I guess it was in 2008 maybe. Boy, really date myself there. 8 or 9, but they won a state championship there when Dale McGee was coaching and he was there. And if I'm not mistaken, I was told that Jarvis, he was mainly a basketball player. And I don't even think he started playing football till he was a freshman in high school. And then
really?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Yeah, and then he would stay with the football team, and then he was, one of the most gifted athletes I've ever seen, just as athleticism goes. And then, of course, the football team's winning, and he's missing part of the basketball season because they're playing late into it.
Right.
Of course, then he goes to the basketball team and then carries them on too. So I think he's a great fit. He's a hometown guy. Happy to see him, get that opportunity and actually want to do that and give back to the community. So good for him. Wish those guys the best. And good kids over there at Carver too. We did that state championship video with them. Had an opportunity to meet a lot of those kids and just really good young men.
You're watching Extra Point with Phil Jones. Mark Dykes with me, joins me just about every Monday. Hey, again, we want to remind you guys, check out our new Friday night scoreboard show. It's kind of an extension of Extra Point, except we are giving you guys score updates. We had a really successful show on Friday night. I really thank all of you guys for joining us. Come on back. If you missed it Friday night, hey, come join us this Friday night. We have a blast. We start at 10 o'clock, right as most of the games are getting finished, and we'll go till midnight. So we were rocking and rolling last Friday, and hope you guys will join us this coming Friday. Okay, let's talk about – go ahead, Mark. You got something?
Well, I was going to say, Phil, that's past your bedtime, isn't it? Almost 10, until midnight.
Listen.
Did you make it, Phil? I mean, were you nodding out?
No, not at all. Mark, you got to remember,
Yeah.
this is a walk in the park for me compared to the last 5 years on Friday night. I was just leaving stadiums in North Atlanta, getting ready to make the drive back to South Georgia.
Yeah, I can relate to that one from this past Friday night. Yeah.
Look, I salute you. At least when I got back to Valdosta, you still had a couple of hours left.
Yeah, I drove all the way to Jacksonville, Florida I was at Collinsville and left, I believe, at 11:30 and made a stop or two, but got home at 6 a.m. Of course, that takes it out of me now. Took me a little time to recoup, but
Well, it does me too. But anyway, so we both. By the way, guys, in case you're wondering, we don't stay in. I don't stay in a hotel. Mark don't like staying in a hotel. We were both alike in that matter. When the game's over, no matter where we are, and a lot of them are in North Atlanta, the Atlanta area. Hey, get in the car. Let's go home. So
yeah, if I can, I'm gonna head back. Listen, next week I may be on the show Friday. I think Saturday morning I'm gonna get up early and drive down to Fort Lauderdale for the St. Thomas Aquinas Mater Dei game.
Wow. Didn't get any bigger than that, Mark.
Yeah, that'll be a good one.
Yeah.
That will be a good one.
Real quick, like as we last 10 minutes of the show, Class A Division I, our number 2 team in the ITG Next Top 10, Worth County. I got to tell you, Mark, I know Toombs County is number 1. They had a big win, another shutout. I've never seen so many shutouts. 42-0 over Dooley County. But you had Worth County. They also had a shutout victory over Turner County, 42-0. Well, we've talked about Lyndon Worthy, Mark, great looking quarterback, and this Worth County team going to be one to watch.
Yeah, I got to get my Ram hat out. Worth County alumni, they were back on track.
Jeff Hammond's done a great job, hasn't he?
He's done a great job. It's good. It's good to have a couple of folks. Let somebody else be ranked number 1. I do think Worth County will be a hard out for anyone. The way they can throw the ball around like they do and score, as you mentioned, that quarterback is, doing a great job. He's a young guy, but also got some skill players to throw it to. So Worth County's back on the map. It's nice to see.
It really is. And look, you've got in that Class A Division I, and Mark, I've got a question leading up to this. I want to ask it of our viewers as well. So you've got Worth County at number 2, Thomasville. They beat Brooks County. We talked about that. You got Fitzgerald. They're a top 5 team. You've got 3 strong programs there that I'd be willing to put up against just about anybody. And then in Class A Division II, you got Clinch County, of course, Jim Dickerson off to a great start. They beat Bacon County. We talked about Bowden. Look, they lost. Yeah, they got shut out. Shocker. But if you think Bowden's going anywhere under Rich Finley, they're going for 4 consecutive state championships, unheard of. Then you got Brooks County, again, like Bowden. They'll be back. By the way, Bowden and Brooks, let's not forget, they played for that state title last year. Both of them take bad losses to start the year, but they will be back. But here's my question. A lot of people have been talking about this on social media over the weekend. And Mark, I want to get your take on this. A lot of people seem to be, they're wondering basically to a man if these smaller, I'll call smaller schools because there's only 1A in front of these teams, but how competitive can they be with some of your larger classifications? Now, I'm not talking about necessarily 6A or 5A, but once you get up past the single A's, maybe double, triple, 4A, I am a believer that how many A's you have in front of your school does not really matter, Mark. I think if you got the talent, maybe depth comes into play, but that'd be about it. Because talent
Well,
versus talent is what it is. But I want to get your thoughts on that.
well,
And
I
I
think,
want to get y'all's thoughts as well. Give me your comments.
yeah, I think you just summed it up. All right. So I think I mentioned everybody knows how I feel about Carver Columbus. They're a great team. They're 2A. They could play with any 6A team,
I would agree.
man to man, starting 11. Now, depth would come into play. And
Yep.
then I think you would really see that at single A. I mean, like you look at Grayson. I mean, they probably dressing 175 kids compared to a single A school that may be dressing 50.
Yeah.
So that'll make a difference. And at the end of the day, you're rotating in. By the way, some of Grayson's when they're subbing, you can't really tell a difference. First team or second team. That's where the difference would come into play.
I got you. And there are those exceptions, like you said, Mark. I think Grayson, the Bufords, the Miltons, you may not want to start toying with any of those teams. I think they are literally and figuratively, Mark, in a class of their own.
Look, Phil, I think if you'll remember, that's been a while back, but Brooks County went into Valdosta and beat Valdosta.
I do remember
at
that.
Valdosta.
I do remember that.
Now, Brooks County had Malcolm Parrish, who is a warrior and a winner.
Yep.
In fact, he's coaching at Valdosta now.
Is that right?
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he was at Brooks County. I think he's at Valdosta now. Anyway, incredible game. It was unbelievable, actually. So anything can happen. It's kind of like App State beating Michigan. I don't know how many years ago that was.
Everybody sees the point of that game, don't they?
Yeah, that's a game you got to remember.
That was kind of the flagship upset game. That was the one that everybody always points to and references when you have a big time upset. I'll give you another one. Now, maybe not on necessarily the same scale, but you remember when Tiff County, they were very good, and then they went on that little bit of slide. In fact, their slide that they're just now trying to come out of. How many of you remember the game that really caused the downward slide for Tiff County? It was that loss, a bad loss to Irwin County in Ocilla. How many of y'all remember that game? I know Tiff County fans probably do, but that was one, Mark, that literally it has taken Tiff County years to come back from. So it can happen.
Yeah, look, it's any given night.
That's right.
Any given night, which again brings back another college game when Brett Favre played for Southern Miss. They came into Georgia's home stadium and beat them.
Yeah, that's right.
So, anything can happen. So, yeah, some of these smaller classifications definitely can compete and could win a game or two here or there. I think, though, in the long run, in most games, that depth is what will make the difference.
Shane Morgan is checking in from Tennessee. Good afternoon, Phil. Checking in from Tennessee. Shane, great to see you here, brother. J.E. Woods missed the Friday night show this week. We didn't kick off till almost 9:30. Blankety blank lightning. Yeah, they got a lot of teams delayed this past weekend.
Yeah, we were in the middle of that too, by the way.
I was going to say, you knew exactly what was happening there.
Kick off at 9:50.
Jose Padilla tuning in late. Hello, Mr. Dykes and Phil. Jose, get here whenever you can, buddy. We're just messing with you, man. Darty had a big night, says Andrew Watkins. Darty won 51-14 for sure. So, all right, here we go. Lavon Deering says the freshman quarterback from Rockmart is Tucker Parsons. So we have talked about Trace Hawkins. These freshmen, for whatever, they kind of become household names, and so we're going to remember that one. Tucker Parsons, freshman starting quarterback at Rockmart. Don't forget, I believe Northside Warner Robins has also a freshman quarterback starting. Not sure of his name. Harold Burgess checking in. It's Travis Burgess's dad. Harold Burgess. By the way, Harold, man, your son certainly playing his tail off, and I don't have to tell you that. But Harold Burgess actually tipped his hat to another quarterback, Mark. Harold Burgess says that freshman from Milton stepped up during the Buford game. Very impressive. Mark, I'll let you take that. You were there. You saw him in the flesh.
Yeah, through just, I mean, came in under the gun, fourth down, throws a touchdown pass in the corner of the end zone. In fact, we were standing right there. Receiver made a great catch, but he threw it perfect. So it lets you know Milton's got some depth coming up.
Oh, absolutely. Somebody, and I hate to keep referencing just the freshman, Rusty Cravey, my buddy in Tifton, says you skipped me. No, I didn't, Rusty. Rusty Cravey, my buddy, representing the Tift County Blue Devils for sure. But somebody, we're going to find out the kid's name at Milton. Just think about that. You got this Derek Baker young man who is getting it done. I think he's a senior, but no matter what happens this year, you've got this young man, the freshman at Milton, ready to step right in. And under the tutelage, Mark, of Ben Reeves and that great high caliber coaching staff, they're going to be set at quarterback for a while, it sounds like.
Yeah, they will be. And as you mentioned, man, Coach Reeves does a great job. He's just outstanding there, what he's been able to do and keep it going, winning those two state champions back to back. As I said, you can have the best players in the world. That doesn't guarantee a win. There's a lot that goes into it. So, yeah, he's done an outstanding job there. I also want to add that Buford defense is physical. I mean, we saw some hard hits. Again, Derek Baker, the quarterback at Milton, took a beating. But look, they had a couple of other hits, man. Buford's got some players. I mean, on both sides of the ball. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But it just seems like that defense I don't know, I seem to notice them just a little bit more. And I think that's kind of the way Coach Appling coaches, physical, big defense, shut them down kind of thing.
Yeah. By the way, look forward in our upcoming newsletter. I've had a chance to talk to Coach Ben Reeves of Milton and Coach Bryant Appling from Buford on Saturday, and they gave their thoughts on the football game this past Friday. And so look for that. I'll be doing a little bit of a write-up on that game as well as kind of a recap on some of the other games from this past weekend. As we get ready to jump out of here, let me see here. A lot of people are high on Tift County. A lot of Tift County fans, boy, they're excited about the season. Harold Burgess, by the way. Harold, appreciate you checking in. Harold says, yeah, in my opinion, depth plays a huge part in the higher classifications. Harold was commenting on our conversation there, Mark, about some of these lower classification teams.
Well, Harold knows about depth because Grayson's got the depth. In fact, give me their second string, and I'll take those guys and play with him. I mean, yeah, he's exactly right. And Grayson is loaded up with depth. But, yes, at the bigger schools, those numbers make a difference.
Yeah. Justin King points out something pretty interesting. He says single A usually playing both ways. Now, I'll tell you this. You're starting to see there are a lot of these higher classification teams. Buford, for example, Houston County. I think Thomas County Central does a little bit of this where you got a lot of guys that go both ways. At Parkview, you got Adam Clack, the man that started all the success at Milton, Mark. Adam Clack told me that, hey, we teach all of our players. We want all of our players not to be focused on a singular position. We want them to be able to play both ways. If it works out where they're just dominant on one side of the ball or the other, that's fine. But that's the way they approach every player on their roster at Parkview. And I don't know if that is just a thing that some coaches do or if that's kind of the trend. And we can kind of wrap up with this and what you guys think. Mark, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I know, look, everybody remembers this name from back in the day, Greg Reed. One of the greatest high school football players I've personally ever seen. And I know I talked to Coach Mack. He would play guys both ways. He's putting his best athletes out there.
That's right.
But I actually saw Greg. I mean, I watched games where Greg Reed didn't come off the field. He played offense, defense, and return kicks and punts. I've seen him in a game have a long touchdown run, intercept a pass for a touchdown, and run back a kick. I never will forget. I was standing on the sidelines, and there was a fan from the opposing team standing there, and then Greg Reed picked off this pass, ran it back. He said, "I've never seen one person do what he has done in this game." He said, "Boy, that you just don't ever see it. He's lucky." I said, "Greg Reed does that every Friday night." I mean, everybody's used to it at South Georgia. I mean, really, I've never seen anything like it. Greg Reed, what an outstanding player, man. Competitive guy. He would do it all.
You're gonna like this one. We got, and I love this. Jeremy Milbrandt checking in from Massillon.
Okay.
How about that? Massillon folks that are in the house. Boy, I tell you, that Massillon Valdosta game, maybe we'll see that rivalry get reconnected, but that did so much to bring two regions of the country, the Northeast and the Southeast, together in just one high school football game, which it became more than just a high school football game, Mark. It really brought communities and areas of the country together, did it not?
Yeah, it was a great game. And of course, those folks at Massillon, just great guests. I was at that game. Long haul for Valdosta is a long way up there. Drive up there and have to play. But listen, I encourage everybody, if you ever get a chance to go to Massillon, it's truly a unique place. I mean, everybody supports that program in the community. I mean, everybody's still united. I mean, we're talking generations of people at this point. And you would think that, how long can that go on? Listen, it's just an incredible town. And it's only 11, 12 miles from the NFL Hall of Fame in Canton. So, if you ever get a chance to go to a game in Massillon, I encourage it, man. Incredible. Beautiful stadium. A lot of tailgating going on. Community supporting that team. They were very welcoming to us. Just a great place.
Okay, real quick, like Mike Sorensen, we had a couple of people asking about my picks. Guys, my pick 6 will be coming out in the newsletter. So, yes, I will be predicting some football games as we always have. Be sure to subscribe to our newsletter, like and share our newsletter, by the way, and you guys will love it. It's chock full of information, scores, my view on things, and again, my prediction on what we call our Phil's pick 6, which, by the way, Mark,
now, Phil, I hadn't seen your pick 6 yet this week, so I want to make sure you got some competitive games in there.
Okay. So you don't want me going straight chalk, right?
No. We can't have you doing that, man. You got to get some good picks in there.
No, I wouldn't do that. I'm not going to go the cheap route. Well, I can tell you, again, went 4-2 last week. I did miss the Grayson game. Harold Burgess, please forgive me. I was thinking Collins Hill may pull the upset, but they did not. And anyway, I missed out on that one. Yeah.
How many times have you heard me say Grayson's got 170 kids, 10 through 12, and the second team, which kind of proved my point with both those linebackers out, looks as good as the first. That's kind of scary. Right? Anyway.
Yeah, I learned my lesson. I will honestly, though, say I think Drew Swick and Collins Hill, they're going to bounce back. I really believe
100%. Yeah, he's got great play. Look, how many times we've seen teams get blown out and come back and win a state championship. Anything can happen. But yes, they'll be back, and he does a great job there.
By the way, Mark, somebody just brought up something. Jose Padilla said, "Hey, Phil, where's Obadiah? Where is Obadiah Farley? I cannot remember a show where Obadiah was not in the crowd."
Yeah, he's probably watching TCC practice today.
He might be. He's TCC's #1 fan.
Yes, he is.
Megan Anderson from up in Milton says Trey Hassan is the Milton freshman quarterback.
Okay, great job.
Trey Hassan, yeah. Harold Burgess says Baker from Milton is a junior, but that's a lot of hits against Buford that he took. We were talking about that earlier. You know, if he was going to be able to keep up that aggressive style, said that, and this is Harold Burgess talking, said it's going to be a long season.
Yeah, I mean, I tell you, I don't think he's going to face a defense quite like that every week. But yeah, I mean, he ran the ball a lot. So
Eric Evans, hey, feeling the game. Go Ware County Gators, finished 1-0 or 1-0 on the season. Hey, absolutely. Ware County looking really good. No doubt about that. So, Mark, final word I'll give you, man, as we get ready to wrap things up. If you're ready to wrap things up.
Yeah, man, you know, I kind of probably need to get out of here at this point, where I'm kind of set up to do this today. I'm trying to get an area where, anyway, I'm kind of holding up some progress for some other people where I am. So,
Okay.
Look, great first week. I know I had a great time being able to watch that game at Buford Milton with that new stadium. Also, I want to say Buford, man, first class people. They welcome you in there.
No
They
doubt.
do a great job. They treat you well. Great people there. Enjoyed that. You know, Collins Hill, Grayson, you know, lightning delays. That game got off to a late start. I think that can tend to throw things off. And of course, it didn't throw Grayson off. But, you know, good game. I'm sure Collins Hill will be back. Grayson, no surprises there. They are who we thought they were. And, yeah, and I do believe, you know, I just think it's going to be, you know, as always, it's going to be a fun year. And I'm sure we'll be in for a few surprises. Look, it's high school football still. Even the way it's grown and as competitive as it is, it's still high school football. So who knows what will happen.
All right, my final word again. I know some of you may have missed it earlier. I promised I would mention this. Some folks still asking about what is the word on Tift County and Gadsden. There were rumors that Gadsden, with a lot of players being suspended, were not going to have enough players to bring up to Tift County this week. I talked to Jeff Littleton. He said that's not the case. He said even with the players that they got suspended, they'll have plenty of players on that roster, as he said, that are going to be able to have enough to field a team this Friday night. So nothing to it. They may have some players not make the trip, but they will have enough to make the trip and play a game. So there you go. All right.
All right. Good deal. Well, listen, Phil, enjoyed the show today. Enjoyed, glad, you know, everyone that tuned in. Appreciate the support. Look forward to next Monday. And depending on what happens over the weekend, I may or may not be with you on Friday night.
Okay, and whether Mark is or not, we hope that he is. I'll either me and Mark will be with you Friday night for our new Friday night scoreboard show. Guys, tune in, man. We have a blast just like we're having tonight. And then, of course, next Monday, we'll be right here with you again for Extra Point. Until then, you guys be sure to like and share all of our content. Be sure to check us out on all of our social media platforms at ITG Next, our Twitter page, our Facebook page, our Instagram. What am I missing?
Just ITG Next everywhere.
Check us out, guys. Wherever you want to see our content, we will be there.